Well, welcome everybody tonight to our Monday night Zoom call. Tonight's a really special one. And as you know, Tyler George is here, the Olympian, gold medal Olympian. I'm going to let, we've got another really special guest. I'm going to introduce him in a little bit. But first, a quick thank you to everybody that helped this weekend.
Here it is.
At the, can everybody mute yourself, please? This weekend that helped this weekend at the conference that we had in Pennsylvania, wonderful turnout, great. It was a great time. So anyway, glad you were there. We're going to do that yearly. Looking at the last Saturday in September in Pennsylvania, we're going to do one this spring in Omaha area, the same type of format. So I don't want to take any more time on that. I showed earlier, I don't know, what is Frank on right now? I don't know. I was going to show the picture real quick of Frank. I shared it earlier, but I just thought it was kind of neat because we do got some neat. What did I do with it? Maybe I won't. Never mind. I can't do it. Frank, I shared it earlier. The picture of Frank with the Olympians. And that's one thing I wanted to say quick. Shackley and Olympians go together. I remember back in 1996, going to the 96 Olympians and watching Kent Bostic ride and getting the gold. And so Shackley has been instrumental in the Olympians for years. And who started that all is, and I'm going to introduce Carolyn. She's a presidential master. Carolyn Whiteman's on here. Carolyn is the link to Shackley and the Shackley Pure Performance team, all the gold medals. And I'm going to let her tell that story, and I'll let her formally introduce Tyler. But we got a momentum going. We got a wave going. And like now, let's all ride it because it's pretty special. She's okay. Okay, Carolyn Whiteman, Presidential Master Coordinator. You take it away. I don't want to see it done. I'm so honored to have you on here. And when Carolyn called me the other day, she says, how can I support your meeting? How can I support the Saturday deal? I mean, talk about reaching out. Carolyn doesn't make a penny on anything I do, but that's the giving heart. And that's why she's a presidential master. But she reached out to me and said, how would you like to have an Olympian talk at you, do the Zoom call? And I'm thinking, well, yeah, that would be really cool. And so, but Tyler was flying back and we couldn't make it. He tried, believe it. We're going to do it between airlines. I said, he said, we'll just do it another time. We said, well, this is perfect for the Monday night Zoom. So this is going to be recorded. It'll be on the YouTube. But Carolyn Whiteman, my good friend, presidential master, take it away, please.
Well, thank you so much, Jeff. And first of all, you give me credit for the Olympians, but that is far bigger than any of us. The very first Olympic connection that I remember Shackley had goes back to 1980. And that was the Olympic ski team. And I think that there were 3 or 4 Olympians that were medalists that were using Shackley products back as far as 1980. But the current chapter, or the more recent chapter, is really an example of our being in the business, telling stories, sharing it with people, and never knowing where it's going to go. And all of us can relate to this. My connection with the pure performance athletes goes, many of us specifically know Eli Bremer, who was really kind of the face of pure performance. Well, the story of Eli is my connection with him started because Eli was a high school student friend of one of our business leader teams in Colorado Springs. And as a teenage athlete, he was having, wanting better things to train with, having health issues or whatever it was. And because his teenage friend's mom and dad were Shackley leaders, that was how he was first introduced to the Shackley products. They worked for him while he was training. He went on, became several athlete recognized at the Air Force Academy, and then was an Olympian in Beijing in the pentathlon. And all that time he was using the Shackley products. And then because he was someone who saw a bigger picture, he was the one who really, and also lived in Colorado Springs, which is where the Olympic Training Center is. So he had a lot of connections with people that came in and out. He's the one who really set up the the chapter with the Pure Performance Olympians, which was really reaching out to people like Tyler, who, I'll back up just a little bit. And what I think is important about our working with athletes of this type is that forget the athletes for a minute and think about us as just commoners, just common consumers. What are the things that are most important to us when we go buy products? And I say for our customers, there are two things they want. One is they want products that are safe, because honestly, it doesn't go more than a week before something is coming across the headlines that this was pulled off the market or that was pulled off the market. So we want to know that something is safe, and we can't really necessarily trust what's on the label because we don't really, basic consumers can't do that. The second thing that we're looking for as consumers is we want something that works. I say, a lot of people say, well, Shaklee's an elite product line and it's expensive. And what we'll all say is the most expensive thing you can do is buy something that doesn't work. I don't care how cheap it is. So if you're buying something that really performs and gives you the results you want, then that's what customers want. Well, how do we validate that? Well, we can go through all the science and hear all the stories, but for me, it's very simple. How do I know the products are safe? Because Olympians and Olympic medalists have been training on these products since 1980, and they are drug tested all the time. And Tyler can pick up on that part. So if they're safe enough for them with all the, WADA, USADA, whatever the regulations are, they're probably okay for us and our kids and our grandkids. And the second thing is, do the products work? Well, the Shaklee Olympians who have trained on Shaklee products have 152 Olympic medals. Excuse me? I mean, that just almost doesn't fit into someone's vocabulary. And so do we know products work? Yes, we know the products work. So that's really how the association with the athletes has happened. So I had the good fortune that organization has now transitioned to actually being part of our business team. They always have been, but that's one of the ways that I get to know Tyler. So I met him in Las Vegas, just as many of us did. And then he is now actually a distributor in one of our business organizations. And so I have the good fortune of having him not only as an Olympic medalist, but as a friend. And so I think we're really fortunate to be able to hear his story. And I'll give you just a little bit of background because I think Jeff's going to show a video. I don't know about you. I live in the tropics, so curling on winter ice is not exactly a local sport for us here. And so to understand the sport, you will see a little bit of explaining it. But I think the important thing for us to realize is that anyone who competes at the level of intensity in whatever sport it is has got mental, physical, all kinds of stresses and strains. And for that, I'll let Tyler introduce himself. But I think it's just exciting for us to be able to say, look, none of us can tell the stories that he can, but it's my pleasure to introduce to us all a friend and Olympic gold medalist, Tyler George. Tyler.
Well, thank you so much for that, Carolyn. Carolyn should also mention that she was kind enough to invite me to her house, where we can see in the background. It is very tropical. And for those of us in Minnesota that are looking to get away during the cold winter months, it's a great option to have. So very lucky to call Carolyn a friend and have a destination to go to in those cold winter months. But yeah, thanks so much for having me here, Jeff. Thanks for inviting me, and Carolyn for hooking this up, along with Chris Bartholomew. Had the chance to speak on behalf of Shaklee on numerous occasions to different groups all around the country. And it's a very easy thing for someone like myself to do, because I've used the products in my athletic career, but also in my post-athletic career too. So so I can speak to it on both sides of the coin. And if I move my camera sideways, which I might at some point here, you'll see just a pile of Shackley products here on my right. And this is 5 years removed from having competed at the Olympic or international level. So it stays with you throughout your entire life. But a little about my athletic background. I grew up in Duluth, Minnesota, where I still live. My parents were both curlers. Curling's a very big sport where I'm from, and they ran the curling club in my hometown in Duluth. So I grew up in a curling club in essence. And it wasn't something where I saw it on television and became interested, or had a friend that played and it got me interested as well. It was just always there, and something that's a part of your life right from the get-go is going to be something that you're interested in. So I've always felt fortunate that I grew up in the curling community because it's such a tight-knit group of people, and having curlers to look up to as role models isn't something that everybody gets to say either. But that was definitely part of my upbringing, not just with my parents, but with watching the competitive players around Duluth play, and that family in the curling world. When I became a part of the Shackley family, there was a lot of similarities that I saw in people wanting to help each other and wanting the best for everyone, having connections everywhere you go. The same way that if there's a curling club in a city that I go to, I can go in with open arms. If there's Shackley representatives, which there are pretty much everywhere, then it's the same type of community feel where you all feel like you're a part of something bigger. But I started playing when I was about 10 years old. That's being the smallest kid in my grade. That was the first time that I was able to get those 42-pound stones down to the other end of the curling sheet. And I played for 25 years and ended up going to my first junior world championship in 2001, where we took the bronze. I competed in 9 U.S. nationals, winning 4 runner-ups, and 4 Olympic trials. Which is, for anybody that plays an Olympic sport, no matter how many world championships you go to, and we had a world championship bronze medal in 2016 in men's as well, the Olympics is always the end goal. I mean, even the world championships are kind of a prep tournament for trying to get to the Olympics. And my first 3 attempts at getting to the Olympic Games, we came up short. So that was the monkey on my back. I just wanted to be able to call myself an Olympian, and then I could be at peace with whatever else happened in my athletic career. And 2017 rolled around, and one of my teammates, that we put the team together that we had in 2014, and we played together for that Olympic quad. And my skip of the team, John Schuster, was somebody that I'd played against my entire life. We went to junior camps together in our teenage years. We came up through the junior ranks together and played against each other. I can't even count how many times, but we decided in 2014, maybe things would be easier if we play together as opposed to against each other. And worked out fantastic. We represented the United States at the next 3 worlds, including that bronze medal that we won in 2016. And again, that was all leading up to the Olympic trials, and all of it was leading to that one tournament, the trials to get to the Olympics, which I can tell you for a fact, I was 1,000 times more nervous for the trials than I was the Olympics themselves, because everything after that, again, I could handle finishing in last place at the Olympics. It's not my plan, but at least I can call myself an Olympian. So we played a best of 3 finals against the number 2 ranked team in the country, who we pretty handily beaten over the last few years, and lost the first game. So our backs were against the wall in that situation. We had to win 2 in a row just to get to the Olympics. And thankfully, we had a really good meeting afterwards. And I won't go into that now, because that would extend this far beyond the amount of time that we have tonight. But we got ourselves in the right mindset to relax and go play our best, and played 2 of the best games we'd ever played as a team, the next 2, resulting in 2 wins and qualifying us for the Olympics. So shortly before the trials, my teammate John Landsteiner, who had been to the previous Olympic Games in Sochi, that team finished either last or second to last too. So they had some unfinished business. 2 of the guys on the team, John Schuster and John Landsteiner, really wanted to get back and improve on that previous finish. But John Landsteiner had been a part of the Shackley family for a while leading up to that. And he had mentioned to me in that final season that he thought it'd be something good for me to join up with too. So it was only a few months ahead of the trials, I think, that I ended up signing on with Shackley and started using their products. But I could feel a difference right away in having that little extra bit of energy and your mind being right when you're competing. That's the biggest thing, is mental fatigue in athletics competitions, every bit as debilitating as physical fatigue. So having good things that you're putting into your body when you're going into those types of competitions, you don't really realize how big a difference it makes, because you don't know what the difference is. You haven't felt differently. So that kind of cloudy mind that you have from fatigue feels normal. And then you start using something that helps clear that up. And for me, it was Life Shakes. In particular, I used on the road all the time, hydrate powder in competitions, the supplements, the vitalizers. I mean, I could count a million things I use now, but for athletics, all those things were very important. And immunity tablets that we use on the road too, to help us stay healthy and not get sick, which you get sick going into a major competition. That's a big factor. And there's not a whole lot you can do to prevent that without using something like the immunity tablets that we had. So just felt better, felt cleaner, sharper. And I do attribute a lot of that to the products I was using at the time. So we go into the 2018 games as somewhat of an underdog and started off. It's a 9-game round robin in the Olympics for curling. And we were 2-4 after 5 games, or 6 games, excuse me. And that wasn't really unusual for our team. For whatever reason, we tended to start slowly in international competitions and then finish strong. But we were up against the wall about as far as you could be in a tournament like that, and really had to run the table and even get a little help from some of the other teams to qualify for the playoff rounds. And our next game was against Canada, who the U.S. had never beaten in any Olympic competition for curling, whether it's men's, women's, or mixed doubles. So we had to do something no U.S. team had ever done before to get there. And we came out, played our best again, beat Canada for the first time in U.S. history, tallied wins against Switzerland and Great Britain, which is Scotland, in the next couple of games, and ended up making the semifinals, where we played Canada again and beat them for a second time to qualify for the gold medal game. Now, the way that the medal round works in curling is if you make the final, you're guaranteed a silver medal. It's a gold or a silver. So having that medal in your pocket, you kind of relax a little bit, because you know at worst we were going to have the greatest finish by any U.S. team in Olympic history. But at the same time, all of our conversations after that semifinal game were about, we have one more, that we felt like this is our year, this is our time. The team that we played against in the final, Nicholas Edin's Swedish team, is now the most accomplished team internationally in the history of our sports. They've won either 5 or 6 world championships. And if you can't count how many world championships somebody's won, then there's a reason for that. They took the silver that year because we did come out on top, but won gold in 2022 and have won bronze in 2014. So they have all 3 Olympic medals now as well. But that was a team that we really felt good playing against. We had a 4-1 record against them in the previous 2 years. For whatever reason, it's like any other sport. There's just bad matchups for some teams and good matchups for others. And that was a team we matched up really well against. So we wanted to play the number 1 ranked team in the world. That was our best matchup. And we were very relaxed, focused. I think anybody that watched on television, if you watched the 2018 games, would say that by the body language, we looked like the confident number 1 ranked team, and our opponents looked like the nervous, happy to be there team, because they felt they had all the pressure on their shoulders. And I'll say this, I'm glad that we were as ignorant to what would happen after the Olympics if we won at the time, because we'd never had a U.S. team win. We didn't know what it would do for our sport and our country, and we didn't know what we would experience afterwards if we did win. So having that blissful ignorance of the aftermath, if we would have won, was a very good thing, because now looking back at it, and I've watched that game probably 50 times since, because a lot of what I do in my regular work as essentially an ambassador and promoter for the sport of curling, traveling the country and helping clubs build their membership and grow in the areas that they're in, running clinics for juniors and adults too. We rewatched that game where I give commentary as I've moved on to doing broadcasting in sport too. And I get nervous watching the game now, probably more than I actually was when we were playing. And most of that is because I know what happens after. You know, had we not won that game, a silver medal at the Olympics is an amazing accomplishment, but attaching Olympic gold medalist is a completely different thing. And what we've been able to do for our sport, the way it's grown in the United States since, has been an amazing thing. And that's the best part about it, is you get to promote something that you love and that means a lot to you and that has made your life better. And that's a feeling that's transitioned into the Shackley family for me. That's being able to continue using the products has been amazing because of how it makes me feel on a regular basis, just living my regular life. But also that I get to speak to it and help people improve their lives, because as a spokesperson for a product, we're very careful about what we attach our names to, because our reputations in our accomplishments and what we do going forward are contingent on the viability of the things that we actually put our names to. And that's never been an issue for me with Shackley, because I know what it's done for me. And I know that having anybody get more involved with the company or using the products because of anything I say, that's a great thing, because I know that it's helping people, and helping people improve their lives is why a lot of us are here on this call now. But we do it because we believe in what we're talking about, not because we're trying to sell something. I've made that very clear to Carolyn on many occasions that I never want to feel like a salesman when it comes to these things, but I'm more than happy to speak to something that has helped me as much as it has. And I will always use these products. I'll always speak to them. I was thrilled to be a part of the Pure Performance team when we had that with 80 plus Olympians, I believe, that were on board when I came on. And now as the small handful of spokespeople that have stayed on, and I've been fortunate enough to be asked to be one of those and have these opportunities. I got to be a part of the global conference, as we saw from the pictures in 2018 in Las Vegas, but again, was lucky enough to go out to San Francisco and visit with Roger Barnett and Sloan, his wife, and his family, and really just took me in as part of the family for a weekend, got to spend a lot of time with them. And Roger asked me to come to the 2019 global conference as well as the co-MC for the athlete presentation for the summer athletes with Eli Bremer. Huge honor. Was so happy to be a part of that and to be asked by Roger. Again, just another extension of the Shackley family. And anybody that's had a chance to meet Roger and Sloan and the rest of the family knows they're wonderful people. And they've done so much for me, for my old teammate as well. And again, just being able to speak to these things as something that has helped myself and so many others. My best friend's wife had some digestive issues recently that had her in the Mayo Clinic, and she'd been going in and out of the hospital numerous times over the last half a year. And Carolyn recommended a regimen of 4 different Shackley products that we got my friend on. And she said within 2 days, she felt better than she had in any of the treatments from the hospital. Now, it sounds kind of far-fetched, but I have a tendency to believe somebody that's been dealing with that much pain for a long time, who had no stake in the company whatsoever, doesn't use the products normally, doesn't sell the products, and just felt amazing compared to what she had. And knowing her as I did and the misery that she was in, again, it's just a small example of the things that we can do to help people with these products. And thanks again to Jeff for having me here to speak to those things, and Carolyn for helping organize it. But I believe we're going to do a little moderated Q&A for the rest of it. Jeff has a few things that he's going to ask me. And then at the end, if anybody has any questions about products or my experiences or the Olympics or anything like that, we'll have some time for that too. So thank you.
Jeff, do you have the video, that 2-minute clip?
Yeah, I got the video if you want to watch that first. And yeah, because we come up with some good questions, because that was really great, Tyler. I appreciate it. But you covered all but one of my questions. You already covered them. It's like, all right, I'm scrambling, but
well, I did
we'll
speak for longer than I intended to, so we can skip through that part of it for the most part, and then open it up to the floor as well for anybody that has
Okay,
any
do you want to
questions.
do, does anybody everyone watch that video quick?
Oh,
mean,
I think the video is great. I mean,
all
it's
right,
only.
yeah, I'll tell you what,
minutes,
that, I watched it live because I knew they were all gonna be on there. And every time I watch it, I mean, it goes back to like,
I just.
and you
yeah.
watch the precision, and that was one of my questions about, because not only being an athlete, but you gotta have the precision. Let's watch the video. I just really appreciate it, people, because it's like incredible.
The odds they have reached the gold medal game, and tonight they will take on Sweden. His worst finish at a World Championships or Olympic, it's 6th. That's why. Key play here early in this contest in N3. Schuster stays hot. The United States gets its deuce to tie it up. Very important shot. In the 4-game win streak, they've given nothing more than a 2 to one of their foes, and only 2 of those. Trying to be right on the nose of the red. What a great shot. Shot stoned and very difficult to remove. Waiting for this rock to curl, trying to get to the nose. I don't know. It doesn't. Wow, that's a huge break for Team USA. And that means the U.S. has the steal to go ahead. And not a lot of folks expected Team USA to get here. But for Sweden, Nicholas Edin coming in as one of the pre-tournament favorites. How about that? That one spot on. Just is a little bit wide. He didn't like it at all, and that's why he knew it was off. It would be a huge swing for Team USA. The U.S. trying to set another roadblock.
So the easiest shot is yellow onto red onto yellow, but it's only for 1.
And the degree of difficulty is high. And Nicholas Edin somehow pulls it off. But he is desperately hoping to finish first. Last here for Edin in the 8th.
Doesn't quite roll enough.
This is a potential double for 5 and maybe gold for the U.S.
Can he get it?
He can! 5 on the board for Team USA. He realizes the writing is on the wall. And that is it. The United States has won curling gold at the Olympics.
Okay, how do you not get excited about that? That's pretty incredible. Like I said, just every time I watch it, I had to get the precision. I think, wow. Then of course you said one of my questions was how long you've been doing it. Basically, you grew up with it. So
I like watching that too because we win every time. So
you're undefeated in that one. Yeah. And those of you that want to watch it, if you want to go spend the 2 hours, I think it was, the whole thing is the next video that follows it. Is the whole broadcast of the whole thing. And so it's anyway, it was pretty cool. I really appreciate this. And I am going to share real quick. Frank must have had a conflict tonight, but I want to share with him because this is kind of the cool stuff about being having the Shack the athletes and the giving. That was at we said 2018 or 2019 conference in Vegas, and that's, you know, of course, Frank and Susan, master coordinators. And so anyway, I don't want to waste any more time. Not that was a waste of time, but does anybody have any questions? What's that?
Put them in the chat.
Okay, if somebody have one, put it in the chat, or or let me know, speak up, but I'll look and find the other one, because I was gonna ask, how long you been curling? What's your supplement routine? Basically, does that change? I always figure a lot of the mental acuity, because I was trying to figure out, it's almost a combination of bowling, bocce ball, pool, and doing it on ice. I don't know, and having the focus. I don't know. It's pretty neat. So
Yeah, to give you an idea what type of dimensions we're working with too, the sheet of ice is about 150 feet long from end to end, which really doesn't translate on television. It always looks shorter. So when people see it in person, they're amazed by how far it is from end to end. The targets that we throw at, those circles that look like bullseyes, they're called houses. They're about 12 feet in diameter, not about, they are 12 feet in diameter. So we're throwing over 100 feet at a 12-foot target, but we're really throwing to targets that are like a couple inches wide, because we have to be that precise with each shot. And the stones are about 12. Well, again, we throw 8 per team, sorry, and we have 2 per player. So 4 people on each team, everybody throws 2. And the stones weigh about 42 pounds each. The sweeping that you see is to make rocks go farther. You can't make them speed up, but you can carry them a farther distance. And the direction we can alter a little bit. The faster a rock is moving, the less it curls. So we can sweep to try to hold the line straight too. So that's what all the yelling is about. When we hear a screaming on there, is we have to get the speed and the line correct, so we know if a rock needs to be swept. So it's a great team sport, because if you throw a rock poorly, it can be helped with sweeping if it's read correctly, but you can also throw the rock perfectly and have it ruined by sweeping if it's read incorrectly. So that constant communication back and forth with the team on every shot, depending on what type of shot you're playing, you have between 6 and 26 seconds before the shot ends or comes to an end. If you're throwing a hit, it takes less time, obviously, because the rock is moving faster. If you're throwing a draw, which is a shot that's just supposed to stop somewhere on the other end, then it takes a lot longer to get there because you're throwing it softer. So you don't have much time to make the decision. So right away, as soon as that stone is released, that's when you hear that yelling back and forth start between the skip on the other end, who's reading the line, and the sweepers that are following the stone and reading the weight.
wow, thank you for explaining. That was one of my questions, because I thought I saw 4 people and then I see 3 people. So there's whoever throwing it, the one at the other end that's reading it, and then the 2 sweepers in the middle, right? Is that how I'm reading that? Okay.
Yeah, it's 1 shooter, 2 sweepers, and then the 1 person to skip on the opposite end. So my job on the team, I was the vice skip. I'd been skip on every other team essentially I played on. But when John Schuster and I joined up, we were both skips. So one of us needed to be the vice skip, which is the person that throws third for your team. So the 5th and 6th stones at the end. The vice skip is the only position that does all 3 functions on a curling team. So they sweep for 4 stones, then they throw their 2, and then they go to the opposite ends and call the house, essentially skip when the skip is throwing the final 2 stones. So you have to be the jack of all trades to play my position that I played in the Olympics. I like to say that the vice skip is the best player, but I'm very biased on that, obviously. Too.
I love it. Man, that was my questions, and there's a couple more in the chat, but those are my questions, because I watch it, but it's I'm not going to compare it to hockey, but I watch hockey. I love it, but do I really understand it? No, but this really intrigues me. So couple questions.
So we have some questions for you. When you're training, about how many calories were you needing to eat? And then what is your daily regimen now? And what was it then for like supplementation?
Well, for caloric intake, boy, I'd be guessing, honestly. We didn't really mandate a specific amount of calories for our sport as much as we were just trying to put good things in our body. It's not a sport where you're burning off calories constantly with the type of training you're doing, because we were in the gym all the time too. But where you see Michael Phelps talk about his over 10,000 calorie a day diet that he was on, the type of training that we would do with the cardio, the upper body weight training for sweeping as well, the stretching and flexibility training we do, as you see, it's like an extended lunge when we're shooting. So the lower body strength is extremely important for kicking out of the hack. A lot of it was just maintaining the physique we have, because when you're playing a precise sport like we are that has as much touch as it does power, then you don't want a lot of fluctuation in your body type. And that's something that my father told me growing up about when he played pool. Now, the angles and the touch that you need playing billiards and pool, you're not talking 42-pound stones, but you are talking about the very precise muscle memory that you need. So keeping the same body type and staying consistent was really important for myself and for our team too. But the training is very focused. So the caloric intake, I would say, if I'm throwing out a number, it was probably a quarter of what Michael Phelps might do. But again, it's totally different type of training for us. And with the regimen for the supplements and everything, I can show you right here. I've got my Vitalizer Men supplements that I've used those for the last 5 years now, since I joined on with Shackley. And that's a daily thing for me. Was during competition. It is now out of competition. And I didn't lie. I'm going to turn my camera for a second too. If you see this pile of stuff here amongst all the other clutter with my paperwork, that's a fraction of the Shackley stuff that I keep in my house today. And I use the mixed greens, or not the mixed greens, but just greens. I was thinking of the salad I ate earlier. For the organic greens booster, that goes in with my life shakes pretty much every day too. Turmeric, digestive stuff for my stomach too. The energy chews, just for a little extra pop when you're running around town. Just looking through what else I have. Recovery for tablets. I've got the Mind tablets as well. Just feel a little extra sharp as well. I use the laundry detergent. I use the shampoo. I mean, it's the daily products, not just the supplements and the nutritional stuff that we use. So, and that stuff is cleaner and more green than anything else that I would use before that too. So, Carolyn has said to me many times too, sometimes it's about finding the things that you use every day and then seeing what you can replace it with for Shackley. And yes, Stacy, the beard oil, I do have that too. Yeah. I just started with that recently. Yeah, it's great. Smells really nice too, I've found. But no, I just saw in the chat there too. Only 2 of us out of the 4 were with Shackley at the time. John Schuster had been previously, but ended up going with a different company during the last couple of years while we were playing. But yeah, if it wasn't for John Landsteiner, I never would have gotten involved with Shackley. So I have him to thank, and so many great experiences I've gotten since then because of it. So John still uses the products as well. He was a part of the Pure Performance team. Looking to get him more involved with things going forward too. We're kind of revamping things with how we're running the Pure Performance squad, which the original version was shelved, but I know Carol and I have been talking about trying to revamp that and get more athletes involved with not just using the products, but promoting them for the company too, because we feel that we're a great resource and we're already here. We already use the products. You don't have to convince us to do anything. We'll speak to them whenever anybody with the company likes. We're very happy to do these types of things.
Well, we sure appreciate it. We're just about out of time, but that the one thing that I heard you, maybe it was an interview with Chris on a Saturday morning a couple of years ago or something, when you talked about, and you alluded to it earlier, all the traveling you do, but it made sense about keeping your body the same, but also all the traveling that you do and have to, stay healthy. Because like you said, if you get sick, there goes your competition. And that really hit home with me. It's things that we don't think about as the average person that is really, into your sport. So, and you guys are also great. And maybe Shackley doesn't, you guys weren't paid athletes for Shackley. You got your products and they took you around it, and you love the products and stayed with it. What a testimony to the company. And I know Amanda, who's 7 months pregnant now with her twins, has graciously said she's going to do a call for us in the future, but we'll let her have her babies, and we'll get a hold of her this spring.
Yeah, you'll love having Amanda. Take what I do and then multiply the energy by 10, and you have Amanda. She's fantastic. So for those that don't know her, she was a member of the 2016 gold medal rowing team in Rio, and we become friends through Shackley. We met at the global conference in 2019 in Vegas. Her and Amanda Elmore were both there from their team. And she's great. If you get a chance to talk to Amanda, you're going to feel, I would say, 25% better about your day just from talking to her.
Yeah, she's wonderful, and you all are. We all are. We appreciate you all. I know we do in the field. Appreciate you all, and thanks for taking your time. And I know, offering your time is special to us, and we love hearing from you. So, with that,
I would like to say too, Jeff, I don't want anybody to think of this as a one-off either. If you have events that you'd like to have myself or Amanda or anybody, whether it's over a Zoom call or in person, that's something that we're trying to do more of in the future now through Shackley, and Chris Bartholomew and I are going to continue conversations there. Carolyn and I will do the same. So consider us at your disposal if you need anything, even if you just have a question. But anything with regard to future events, appearances, things like that, we're more than happy to be involved. So anyone here, feel free to reach out to Jeff or Carolyn if you need to connect, and we'll see if we can work something out.
sounds good. Well, we're like I said, we're doing a big meeting in Omaha, and this spring, like we did. Mike is already committed to drive down from Minnesota, so
From Superior.
or Superior.
Just across the bridge. I can practically see you from here.
So anyway, we'll take you up on that for sure. And I appreciate everybody for being on. I'm going to stop the recording. And thanks for being on tonight. And thank you, Carolyn, for setting this all up. Thank you, of course, Tyler, for giving your time, and thank you all for being here.